So now if we circle back to that 108,000 that I mentioned, let's just go back over it again. If you want to pay yourself $75 an hour, on a conservative side, let's say you're putting in about 20 hours a week. This is something where you can almost view it as like a side hustle. You work your regular job, and then you have 20 hours a week that you devote to the actual job, the business that you're trying to get started. $75 an hour, 20 hours a week. If we say 18 months to try to figure out what it is that you need to be doing with your business and make sure that you have something that is an actual real business opportunity, you have a business model, then that's $108,000. That's not taking into consideration the platforms, the tools, the courses, all the different things that you're paying for to learn how to be able to figure things out during that 18 months. So by the time you're done, you're talking about it could be 200,000, 300,000. You're not thinking about the full number. You're thinking about the smaller increments. Well, I can get on AppSumo and buy this because it's a lifetime deal, so I only have to pay for it once. But if you have 5 things that you purchase like that and you're only using one of them and the other 4 on the shelf because you brought something for a future purchase, but you never actually got to that future, then that's wasted money. And that's money that you could have applied to something that would actually help you get where you want to be able to go. So one of the reasons that I wanted to be able to cover this was to make sure that people understand the importance of not skipping steps, especially the crucial steps, especially the steps that are going to be the thing that allows you to really be able to close those deals that you want to be able to close, to answer those follow-up questions that are the difference between someone saying, you don't know what you're talking about, and I can't imagine not working with you. So you really want to be able to think those things through and make sure that you have something that works. So let's move on to the next part. And this is something where I wanted to be able to cover. I talked about the numbers, but let me ask you, how many times have you heard an entrepreneur say, I can figure it out myself when it comes to strategy, but then spent thousands on tactical stuff like websites and logos? We've talked about it. They'll skip the $2,000 brand session. They'll save money for a $12,000 website and then not realize that that decision actually cost them $10,000. If I was to tell someone, you know what, I can make you $108,000, I'm just going to need 8 of that 108. That $8,000 doesn't seem as big as if when you're first starting your business, someone says, well, I can help you with your business, map everything out and make it so that you have clarity, confidence, and you can be consistent with your business model. Whatever you make, we'll make sure that you can consistently make that. It's going to cost you $8,000. All they're going to hear is the $8,000. They're not aware that they can make that $100,000 by getting it right. So it's not just understanding that it's something that you need. It's understanding when it's going to serve the best purpose. And a lot of times it's early on. And it's early on because you haven't created bad habits yet. You haven't started spending into budget and paying for things like paid ads and websites and SEO and different things that require you to be able to have a better understanding of your brand messaging, your value proposition, who your target audience is. If you don't have the ability to be able to answer that with clarity, if you don't have the ability to be able to explain it to someone in enough of a quick way and clear way, then you're running into problems. I can tell you this again, I'm on networking calls weekly and I talk to at least 5 to 10 entrepreneurs every week. And I use it as market research. I use it to be able to identify what people are struggling with, what challenges they have, what's working well for them, trends, things that people are talking about so that I know what problems to solve and what things to help them with. And inevitably what comes up is things that look like cautionary tales. It doesn't take me long to be able to figure out where someone's struggling when I listen to the things that they're doing. If I ask someone what they do and they spend 5 minutes telling me everything but, they're telling me the cost, they're telling me the results that they can get, but they can't tell me what problem they solve or why they chose to solve their problem. Those are things that talk about results that may or may not happen. But if there's no actual connection there to be able to say, well, here's why I'm solving that problem. Here's the people that I'm helping. I've said in the past, there are 3 reasons typically that people start a business. They've had a great experience that they want other people to enjoy. They had an awful experience that they want to help people avoid. And in other cases, it's second or third hand information. They've seen it enough to know how to solve the problem, even though they haven't specifically experienced it themselves. If someone says, I had a great experience and I really want to make sure that other people can have that experience. When you say that to someone, that's something that makes somebody want to lean in. But if someone asks you what you do and you're talking about everything but the thing that matters to them, the what's in it for them and why they should care, you're not earning the right for them to want to hear more. If someone is asks you what you do and you say, well, I had this awful experience and it was so bad that like I decided I wanted to make sure that nobody else went through this. I'll give you an example. When I first started my business, this is before I actually went out full time. I built a whole ecosystem. I had multiple sites and they were each tied to each other and a bunch of different things. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars building those websites. At one point, I had someone say, "Oh, I can help you with your website." And they went in and made some kind of change and the whole site crashed. When I went back to the designer, I said, "Okay, well, the site crashed. I need you guys to help me bring it back up." They said, "Oh, well, you didn't have a backup, so we're going to have to rebuild the site all over again and charge you again for it." And my thing is, well, I paid for it once. You never mentioned that I needed a backup. So why would I pay you to rebuild a site when you clearly have a backup and you wouldn't, you're charging me a discount, but you're charging me a discount to reinstall something that you have a backup of. So my experience with that was, if you're doing it to me, you've done it to other people. And if you've done it to other people, this is such an awful experience that I've gone through because I'm thinking about thousands of dollars being wasted that I decided, you know what? That's okay. I'm going to figure out how to be able to build my own website, and I will create a starter site that allows me to be able to have that initial conversation. And everything that I do after that will be about me talking about why I started my business and making that connection that way. I'm not going to pay someone so that I have to repay them to be able to maintain something that I've already paid them to do. That was me having an awful experience and deciding, you know what, I have to have a way to be able to make sure that nobody else goes through that. So that was the start of me doing website design and making sure that other people didn't have that experience.